People are queuing in a long line for visa to go to the U.S. Chinese people are eager to leave their own nation. China faces mounting economic and political challenges in 2023 that threaten to derail its growth trajectory. Under Xi Jinping's increasingly authoritarian leadership, a toxic mix of factors, including capital flight, corporate divestment, travel restrictions, surveillance overreach, and ideological controls, have put China on the path towards becoming a closed society, both literally and figuratively. This introverted shift runs counter to the dynamism that previously propelled China's economic rise and risks leaving it stagnated in isolation.
为什么国家这么强大了，老百姓为啥还这么难？目前我国无论从经济上、国力上、综合实力，都处于世界第2大经济体，但我们百姓的生活水平却与国家国际地位极不对等匹配，这到底是为什么？关于这个问题，网上最近讨论的异常激烈。一部分人认为，国富应该民强，民弱国强，国不算强。另一部分人认为，中国人口众多，需要一个过渡过程，先有大家，才能有小家。正是因为中国成为第2大经济体冒尖了。
Chinese stock market facing major risks in 2023. The Chinese stock market is facing major headwinds in 2023, with the potential for significant losses and market manipulation by the government.
我们现在总存款286万亿了，我们的城乡居民储蓄也是110多万亿，我们的股市还只有80多万亿，这个跟大国的身份是不相吻合的，所以在这种背景下，我们必须看到33年了，股市越走越低，90被隔得面积越来越大，原因就是在这儿。我们资本市场的监管制度和政策是关键，不是资金问题，也不是周期问题，更不是什么形式问题所以资本市场的价值链，股市是它的命根子，是大国崛起的基石。
The benchmark CSI 300 index has fallen over 35% from its 2021 highs. It is now lower than during the early COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. This broad decline goes beyond just property developers, as most sectors have been hit. A major risk is posed by so-called snowball structured financial products. These derivatives offer high fixed returns to investors if stock prices stay within set ranges over a period, but major losses are triggered if prices fall below knock-in levels. With over $27 billion of these products outstanding, a further stock market decline could crystallize huge investor losses. In response, Chinese authorities are intervening directly in equities. New funds have been approved to buy stocks, while state-owned banks are purchasing shares in major companies. This amounts to market manipulation, which is generally illegal in most countries. The ongoing exodus. Foreign firms continue to leave China. Over the past few years, there has been a steady exodus of foreign companies divesting from China and moving manufacturing to other Asian countries. This departure of foreign investment continues in 2022. Recent data shows that European, American, and Japanese firms are hastening their exit from China. A European Chamber of Commerce survey found that almost a quarter of European companies in China plan to move some or all manufacturing out of the country. Additionally, about 40% of American Chambers of Commerce members say they will shift sourcing or manufacturing outside of China. Japan's government is even subsidizing companies to help them move production out of China. The companies leaving span a wide range of industries, including technology, automotive, robotics, chemicals, and clothing. Some well-known examples are Apple, Google, Adidas, Toyota, Samsung, and Mitsubishi. Key destinations for the manufacturing exodus are Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia, and Malaysia. India is also attracting interest with its large labor pool and government incentives. Automation investments are also allowing some firms to reshore production to home countries. While the outbound investment is still relatively small compared to total foreign direct investment in China, the pace of divestment is picking up. This capital outflow signals decreasing foreign business confidence in the Chinese market. Reasons for departure include rising costs in China, unstable U.S.-China relations, and desire for supply chain diversification. Quality control and intellectual property protection issues have also soured foreign companies on Chinese manufacturing. This led to a massive wave of unemployment. Many young Chinese now chose to lie flat and accept their fate. Millionaires and elites flee in droves. Because of China's bad economic situation, people are fleeing en masse. China has experienced a continuous exodus of elites and millionaires over the past decade. According to investment migration consultancy Henley Partners, a net total of 10,800 high net worth individuals left China in 2022. An estimated 13,500 more are expected to migrate out in 2023. Andrew Amoyles, head of research at wealth intelligence firm New World Wealth, stated the recent outflows could be more damaging than usual. China's economy grew strongly from 2000 to 2017, but wealth and millionaire growth in the country has been negligible since then, when measured in U.S. dollar terms. This loss of millionaires and slowing wealth growth highlights the lack of confidence elites have in the future of China's economy under Xi Jinping's policies. The country has ranked first in the world for millionaire outflows every year since 2012, a continuous drain of human and financial capital. This New World Wealth data shows that while China had 343,500 millionaires in 2012, by 2022, the number had only grown slightly to 398,200. In contrast, the U.S. gained over 1 million new millionaires in the same period. The exodus spans beyond millionaires as well. Recent virus restrictions have led to a shortage of over 600,000 foreign residents in China compared to pre-pandemic levels. Foreign direct investment fell by 50% in the first half of 2022. Upper and middle-class Chinese citizens are also increasingly looking for routes out. This capital and brain drain does not bode well for China's economic competitiveness and growth prospects. Exit bans skyrocket, ensnaring thousands. According to a September 2022 report by the human rights group Safeguard Defenders, exit bans in China have expanded dramatically since Xi Jinping took power in 2012. The report found that between 2018 and July of this year, no less than 5 new or amended Chinese laws provide for the use of exit bans, for a total today of 15 laws. This legal landscape allows Chinese authorities to indiscriminately bar anyone, citizen or foreigner, from leaving the country. Safeguard Defenders estimates that tens of thousands of Chinese citizens are currently banned from exit. Analysis of court records in China's Supreme Court database by Reuters shows an 8-fold increase in legal cases mentioning exit bans from 2016 to 2022. These bans are being used in both criminal and civil cases, targeting a wide range of people including activists, ethnic minorities, and those in financial disputes. A 2022 academic study uncovered 128 cases of foreigners being exit banned between 1995 and 2019, including 29 Americans and 44 Canadians. With rising U.S.-China tensions, foreign business people are increasingly getting caught in the expanding exit ban dragnet. In March 2022, several local staff of the American due diligence firm Mintz Group were detained in China and the company's offices raided. At least one Singaporean executive has been banned from leaving China in relation to the case, which Chinese authorities claim involves unlawful business operations. The European Chamber of Commerce expressed concern about exit bans in May 2022, stating at a time when China is proactively trying to restore business confidence to attract foreign investment, the exit bans send a very mixed signal. Indeed, Xi Jinping has claimed China is open for investment after years of severe COVID restrictions. Yet, the arbitrary use of exit bans exposes the true lack of rule of law and the prevalence of authoritarian control behind the facade. Closed borders, closed society, While exit bans prevent targeted individuals from leaving, Chinese authorities have also systematically tightened restrictions on travel abroad more broadly. To obtain a passport, Chinese citizens now must submit extensive background checks, letters from employers, and excess paperwork. Additional restrictions are imposed specifically on civil servants who must submit passports to authorities and obtain approval for both the trip purpose and duration. At state-owned banks, staff have been limited to just one personal trip abroad per year for a maximum of 12 days. Even ordinary citizens face rising barriers as passport issuance has ground to a halt in some regions. Xinjiang has become virtually inaccessible from outside, surrounded by police checkpoints and facial recognition technology. UN representatives have been denied access to investigate abuses. As part of the zero COVID policy, China also closed itself off from the world more entirely than any other country, shutting borders almost completely since March 2020. Flights were reduced by over 97%, and entry required 21 days quarantine in government facilities. These isolating restrictions have only begun easing in 2023, but the damage has been done. The number of foreign residents living in China has dropped by over 15% compared to pre-pandemic. Tourism revenue fell by 52% in 2020, devastating the hospitality sector. Xi Jinping's zero-COVID regime and its aftermath reflects how swiftly China can cut contact with the outside world when it chooses to. This raises concerns about China's trajectory towards being a closed society resistant to the free flow of ideas and people. Surveillance state expands. Alongside its extensive media controls, China has also built up an Orwellian high-tech surveillance apparatus under Xi Jinping. China's domestic security spending has exceeded its military budget for years, reaching nearly $300 billion in 2022. Hundreds of millions of cameras blanket streets and alleyways across the country, aided by facial recognition software. DNA samples are collected from entire populations. In some regions, smartphone apps track citizens' COVID test results, travel history, purchases, and internet activity. Xinjiang serves as a testing ground where QR codes track Uyghurs' movements. In 2021, new data privacy protections in China explicitly excluded monitoring for national security purposes. Safeguard Defenders revealed in 2022 that police departments across China are buying location data from brokers who get it from legal but highly intrusive apps. When Chinese company boasted it could pinpoint a target's location within a 100 to 500 meter radius, hundreds of thousands of people's data was being tracked in some cities every day without any court approval. Alongside location tracking, Chinese authorities also monitor the population through pervasive video surveillance. By 2023, China had over 626 million security cameras installed nationwide, triple the number in the U.S. Plans are underway to integrate facial recognition databases with real-time monitoring. The Cyberspace Administration of China centralizes control of the digital sphere, cracking down on encryption, VPN, and other efforts to evade surveillance. New rules this year require all bloggers and influencers to register with government ID. This extensive monitoring curtails privacy and freedom while engendering fear of retribution for any dissent. Combined with travel restrictions, information controls, and use of exit bans, it shows China moving towards tighter political and social control under Xi's leadership. Xi's China. Closed borders, closed minds. China under Xi Jinping has seen a troubling rise in exit bans alongside an exodus of elites and millionaires. At the same time, the space for free expression and open information has shrunk with increasing harassment of both domestic and foreign journalists. Pervasive digital surveillance penetrates daily life, coordinated by security organs with unchecked powers. The treatment of Uyghurs and other minorities undermines human rights further. These measures indicate a China concurrently closing itself off from the world and closing in on its own citizens. Despite government claims of openness, China's growing use of exit bans and its extensive controls over every sphere of life for those remaining within its borders betray fear of information and ideas from abroad. It reflects insecurity in the failure of China's own political and economic model to generate continued prosperity at home and genuine soft power abroad, rather than lead with inspiring cultural attractions, freer movement of people, and open information access domestically and across borders. Xi Jinping's government is heading in the opposite direction. China today builds barriers to the outside world while limiting its own internal exchanges. The expanding system of social controls indicates diffidence, not confidence. Of course, China's leaders would do well to reflect on the wisdom of words attributed to Laozi 2,500 years ago. Without opening its gates, a nation understanding only itself will fail. The true path forward relies not on closing doors but opening minds.